In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a concrete pad that's for beginners. And if you're new to this channel, my name's Josh. This channel is all about DIY to save a ton of money. So be sure to subscribe, ring that bell so you get notification every time I release a new video, and hammer that like button for me. That's all I ask in return for making this video. So this is going to be a fun project, so let's get started. The great thing about forming up for a concrete pad, you can essentially use any type of board to form up for your pad. You could use PVC board, you can use 2x4s, what I got here. We got 2x10s here. I've even ripped down plywood before in the past and made forms that way. I'm going to make this pad out of 2x4s, which these are the form boards we've used in the past. So I'm going to cut them to length first, and this is going to be a 40-inch by 40-inch pad. Here's one of the 2x4s already cut to length for one side of the form, and this is 40 inches. And something that you should note, you want to make sure that the other two sides are going to be 43 inches at least. So always add 3 inches if you're using 2x4 material or 2x6 or 2x10s. So that way you have plenty of wood to screw to the end here. So I'll show you more about that here in a minute. So we're going to cut these two 43 inches, then one more 40 inches. We're simply going to make a mark at 43 inches. Use our speed square to make a straight line and cut on that side. And something else to think about, if you're reusing form boards, see the concrete on these boards, we want to make sure that we knock them off wherever we're going to cut, because that concrete will dull the blade really fast. So I want to make sure we get that pretty clean before cutting it with the saw. Here are my 43-inch boards, here are my 40-inch boards. This part's really straightforward. I'm going to use screws, and you could also use nails, 16-penny nails, and we would place them together and make our square. So our inside dimensions are going to be 40 by 40. So if you're building a 48 by 48-inch slab, you'd want to cut your boards that have to be the longer ones, add 3 inches. So you'd want to make it 51 inches, then two of them 48. So you get the idea, pretty straightforward there. So we're going to place our longest one and our shortest one together first. When placing these together, we want to make sure our tops are lined up and that we're square with each other like that before placing them together. Use that same process to connect all four boards together. When making the form, you could also keep the longest ones even longer and just place the layout in which you got to attach the shorter ones. That way you wouldn't have to cut the board to a smaller length and you could use it later. You can see the beginning of the concrete pad forming now. If we measure on the inside, we got 40 inches by 40 inches. That's what you want. You want to make sure your inside dimensions are the dimensions of the pad, obviously. We can now secure the form boards to the ground. I like to use metal stakes to do this, and I like the ones that have the holes in them. That way you can place a screw or nail directly through them. Some people like to use rebar and staples, but I think it's way better to have the stakes with the holes. And you want to start at the corner in which you know is the correct elevation and is correctly squared away from, let's say, your steps, if this is going to be a landing for steps, or if it's going to be for your walkout to where you're right outside of a door. This will be placed right up against the house, so you know you're going to be square with the house. The tools and supplies I'll need to do this are the metal stakes. I got 4 of them, a 4-foot level, a tape measure. We got our impact driver, that's 4 hour screws. And I'm going to begin here in this corner and drive a stake here to hold it into place. I know I want the pad roughly at the height of this stake, so I want to make sure that the form board is up to that area. And we don't want this sticking up above like it is right now, because when it comes to finishing, that's going to be in the way. You want to make sure it's lower. So we're going to screw this here now, because that's the correct elevation that we want. We can just drive a screw right through here into the form. We're now going to address the other corner on this side. In this corner, same idea. We're going to drive the stake here to hold it. And to make sure you're not going too deep, I can go ahead and place my level here and see where we're at when we are level. And it looks like we need to go down another couple inches. Now that we have a stake here to secure this corner, we now need to place our level to get it perfectly level, if that's what we're shooting for here on this side. Now, if you're wanting a slope away from a certain area for whatever reason, you want to make sure you slope it some. But in this case, we want it level. So we're going to hold this up level, then place a screw here in this stake. As you can see, we are sitting perfectly level here, and we now need to place the stakes up on this side, but we first need to make sure that it's setting square. So we're going to use our tape measure to get our diagonal measurements and get them exactly the same to make sure it's square. Real quick, I created a course on becoming an owner builder to build your own house and what I've went through to do so. And I'll put a link to it in the description below. But you can do a course membership that's only $5 a month at the time of this recording. And you might want to jump in now because the price will go up over time as the library grows, and also have additional content like how to tile a shower and how to build a bathroom. So make sure you check that out in the description below. All right, my measurement from this corner to this corner is 56.5, and let me get this corner. We got 55.5. We are definitely shorter by an inch this way, obviously. So in order to lengthen this, it needs to be pulled this way. So we're going to go with about 56, which is about splitting the difference. We got 56 there, and we got 56 there. We are now setting square. So I'm going to place a stake here now, so that way it doesn't shift out of square. Now with this side, we want to place a slope on it. So whenever we do this, all we need to do is make sure our bubble is hitting the line on one side or the other. So if we want to slope going this way, we want to make sure our bubble is more towards the left. So if we want to slope it right, we want the bubble to the left. You can see we got a nice slope away from the structure if this side was the structure, and that's what you want. Make sure you slope away from your structure. I'm now going to place my screws there to secure this side. And then we repeat that on this side. The form boards are now square and sitting at the correct elevation we want. We now need to prepare the base for concrete. A crucial element to a quality pad is making sure that your base is really compact. And in order to do that, I'm going to use this tamping tool and tamp the loose dirt down and make sure it's very tight, and that way it won't settle over time. You can see slabs over time that do not have a tight base, and they're going to be sloped and tilted and they just don't look good. So you want to make sure that you do that, especially if you need a slope away from a house, because it could go towards the house's backfill, which I've seen that several times, and water will drain towards the house. So we want to make sure that we tamp it really tight. Now that we have a solid base, we need to place a layer of gravel in the bottom. 1 or 2 inches is fine for a little pad like this. If you're doing a big slab or a big patio, you want to make sure you put about 3 to 4 inches in that case. So something simple like this, we're going to line the bottom really well. Now that we have gravel in here, we're going to place dirt up around the sides so the concrete doesn't flow out around the bottom of the form boards. If you do decide to form using plywood, be sure to reinforce about every 2 foot or even closer with rebar, so that way it doesn't push the sides out if you don't have high enough dirt around the edges. You can see how loose the dirt is around the edge of the form boards. It's important to tamp that down, because if it's really loose, that concrete will go out from under there. So you don't have to do this super tight, but you want to make sure it's packed around the edges. This form is now ready for concrete. When it comes to the actual amount of concrete you need, I'll put a concrete calculator in the link in the description below, and it's going to be easy as putting the numbers in for your dimensions. It's going to calculate it for you. Also, when it comes to actual concrete that I'm putting in this, I have 2 options. I can either get the bags of concrete and mix it up myself, because this is a small pad, and I'll put a link to those products in the description as well. Or if I'm pouring, let's say, a garage, or if I'm pouring another slab that needs a concrete truck to come on site, I'll just keep this form up until that's going to be poured, then use the leftover concrete or figure for a little bit extra to do your pad. So you got 2 options there. I'm now going to show you on an actual house how to fill up the form, screed across, and put a broom finish on it. Before pouring the concrete in the form, I like to put 6mm plastic down over the gravel and then place 6-gauge wire over the plastic, and I find it easier to use bolt cutters to cut the wire to length. If we are pouring a really small pad, sometimes we'll skip the wire and plastic, but for most pads the wire and plastic is important. The concrete that I'm about to finish is a landing off a deck. After the form is plumb full of concrete, we're going to use a concrete placer just to get the rough grade, and this is exactly what you would do on a large slab as well. is just get your rough grade with your rake or placer as you pour, and then you would switch to the screed tool like I'm about to show you. Using a screed tool on a form like this is much easier. All we have to do with it is simply lay it from form to form board and then just shift it across, and as we're sifting, just make sure we pull the concrete as we go, and it's going to automatically level it from board to board. Much easier to do than what we had to do in the garage earlier. Here's a pro tip. While the concrete truck is still on site, be sure to ask the truck driver you can use his water hose to spray off your tools, and then give him a handsome tip for letting you do that. We poured all this concrete relatively wet. To the outside, because there is sun, you're going to notice the sun's going to dry out concrete way quicker. And this is already about ready to get its broom finish on it. So I'm going to show you how to edge, float this with a magnesium float, and then put a broom finish on it. Really easy, believe it or not. So the first tool I'm going to use is what's called an edger. And this is just going to run right along this board, and we're just going to work it till it puts an edge right around the form boards. So very simple to do. When using the edger, you'll notice the edge has a flare up on each side, but you still want to add just a little up pressure so that you don't drag down into the concrete. So you want to make sure you just kind of go and lift up just slightly as you go. Then when you go back, you lift up back. So I'm going to demonstrate on how to do that. We're going to start back here in this corner, get ourselves down into the edge here, and just slowly start working through here. Just kind of breaking the top the same form as the form. So just slowly work right into that edge. And don't worry, you're going to get some of these pieces of gravel that come out with it. Then we're going to go back, same idea, and come forward. Again, don't be afraid to tilt it so that it doesn't dig. We're going to keep doing that until we fill in all these pits. So when I'm pushing here, I'm pushing pressure back here, then lifting up the front slightly. Then I'll come back this way, same thing, push back here, then lift up the front ever so slightly. So you'll see it's starting to fill in everything now. So this is going to get floated here in a moment. So the main thing is right in this area, make sure we're really good. Like these areas back here will get hit with the magnesium hand float. And all I'm doing is putting a little pressure against that board at the same time. And as you can see, we got a nice edge here, and we're going to do the same around all of the form. I'm now switching over to the magnesium hand float, and with the hand float, we want to make sure that we keep it tilted slightly up in the direction we're going, each way, similar to what we just did with the edger, because you don't want to dig into the concrete, obviously. And the great thing about magnesium, it helps pull the water up to the surface so you get that smooth finish. So that's why you want to go with magnesium. So we're going to float this with our hand like so. So we're just going to keep going back and forth. And as you can see, it's pulling that moisture and filling in all those voids. We want to try to smooth out where we just had the edger going across. And as you can see, as you work it, it just pulls that moisture up and smooths it all out. It's a little on the wet side yet, but this is enough to get this started. And you can float this multiple times. You don't have to do it just once before you move on to the broom. We've now let this set for about another 10 minutes while I was working on that other slab. I'm now going to take a push broom and go over it gently across the top and try to keep my line straight so it looks the best. And they make an actual broom for this process, but because this is a DIY job, we're going with what we got on hand. So we're just going to go across this nice and quick. I find it best just to hit it once with the broom if you can, but I did go over this a second time just to add a little more texture. Also, make sure you put your lines perpendicular to the foot traffic so that way it delivers the most traction. And that's all there is to putting a broom finish for a slab that's going to be outside where you need some texture. As I was waiting for the concrete slab to set up more in the garage to bull float, I went ahead and finished the second slab for the other porch. It's the morning of the following day after the pour. It's time to remove the form boards and see what we got. I'm very happy with the finish on top of here. This looks really good with that broom finish. With the form boards removed, you can see the sides. That's why it's important to tap on those boards. It gives it a more smooth finish while it's setting up. And that turned out really good. So we're going to remove the form boards off the garage as well and the other slab and see what we got. Here's a quick clip from another video that I think you would find helpful. I'm now going to build a concrete slab to sit the outside unit on. I first tamped the ground and then built a square box out of 2x4s that's 36 by 20, leveled it up, then used stakes to secure it, and then took high strength concrete mix that are 80-pound bags. It took 4 of them, mixed them up in a wheelbarrow, and then poured it inside of the form. And then after I did that, I took a rake to level out the concrete, and then came back later that night after it set up a little bit more than what it was when I first poured it, and used a broom to give it a quick broom finish. And then on the following day, I removed the form boards and I had a nice concrete slab. If you're enjoying this type of content, be sure to subscribe to our newsletter. You'll get free building and DIY tips straight to your inbox. If you would like to see how I built this slab foundation myself, check out this video. It'll help you out.